Hello everyone, this is the Tales of Pandora. To those who are watching my videos for the first time, welcome to Tales of Pandora. Here, I tell eerie stories and shocking crimes. So, if you are looking for a night of terror and a spine-tingling experience, then you've come to the perfect spot. Welcome to a spooky night or day. These are about the restless souls. The story today is from the Philippines. Have you ever seen a building or place that you think has a creepy past, especially when it's old? The elders have a belief or saying that when a building or house is built, there must be a human sacrifice. This can be true for some, as workers are left buried or trapped in the building under construction, especially when it is a large project. What we will talk about today is a place in the Philippines that has become infamous and has a sad and tragic history. This is the Manila Film Center. The Manila Film Center is well known for its ghost stories, most of which are workers who died while it was still being built. The construction of this project was a large project where those who work on it died, so the building is haunted by them. There are stories of blood on the walls, eerie voices that you can hear, and ghosts that show up. This building is very controversial. It shows how corrupt the rich are and how little they think of ordinary people. This building was built during the time of Ferdinand Marcos, who was the most corrupt president at the time. This was completed when Marcos took office as president in 1965. He did everything to win the masses. He took office as president. The Philippine economy was running smoothly. But under his leadership, it declined due to his corruption and overspending. This is the reason why many people end up in poverty. His wife Imelda Marcos is also said to have squandered public money. She was rumored to have 2,700 pairs of shoes while the people were starving and struggling. Ferdinand Marcos was supposed to serve only 2 terms until 1972, but he did not step down from office. Instead, he took complete control of his position and declared martial law. Ferdinand Marcos and his First Lady Imelda Marcos lived a life of royalty during their 20-year rule of the Philippines. All who disagreed were silenced. From his first term as president, Marcos had an idea. This was to build a building that he named the Sentrong Pangkultura ng Pilipinas, or the Cultural Center of the Philippines. He wanted to preserve and strengthen the country's culture, so he decided to make his wife Imelda Marcos head of the center. The said Cultural Center of the Philippines complex was opened in 1969. Its theater cost 63 million pesos or $3.8 million. And that was just the beginning, as it continued to grow due to the addition of buildings. One of these is the Manila Film Center, which cost $25 million to build. Imelda Marcos had big plans back then, so the film center had to be finished quickly because she wanted to show off and be the host. Her big plan was to hold the Manila Film Festival there on January 18, 1982. However, construction on the building only began in 1981. In the space of that auditorium, a film facility, 240 hectares of artificial beach, workers were given just 1 year to finish the building. 4,000 workers were hired to complete the project. People say, what the First Lady wants, the First Lady gets. So, workers just changed their schedule every day, all hours and weeks. The deadline of the structure is strict. 4,000 workers were required, working in 3 shifts for 24 hours. 1,000 workers built its lobby in 72 hours, a job that normally requires 6 weeks of labor. But the real tragedy is yet to come. On November 17, 1981, just a few months before the upcoming celebration, there was a tragic accident. But it didn't come out right away. Maybe because the government at the time controlled the media. Hundreds of people were buried in the concrete building of the film center. At 3 in the morning, a part of the Manila Film Center collapsed. Some say that parts of the building gave way due to poor construction. Scaffolding collapsed and fell, trapping at least 169 workers in rapidly drying cement of the foundation. Marcos blocked all rescue efforts for the first 9 hours and prevented the retrieval of bodies, then ordered cement to be poured over the dead. The number of people who died is unclear. The film center opened in 1982 and cost $25 million. A security blanket was immediately imposed by the Marcos dictatorship. Rescuers or ambulances were not allowed on site until an official statement was prepared. Responders were only allowed to enter the accident site 9 hours after the landslide. According to former CCP President Baltasar Entriga, architect Dr. Froilan Hong of the building said only 7 people died. Their bodies have been returned and given the proper ceremonies for the deceased. Despite this tragedy, the Manila International Film Festival continued. Imelda Marcos was fully dressed and the event was pompous and grand. There were fireworks, music, and a big dinner for thousands of people, as if no tragedy had happened just a few months ago. This tragedy caused a spark in the news. It was said that the victims were left in the building and its construction continued until it was completed. One version of the story is more frightening. It is said that Imelda Marcos did not want the construction of the building to stop after the tragedy that occurred. So, she ordered her workers to pour cement over the bodies of the victims and simply continue building it as if the tragedy had not occurred. In different stories, there is only one thing to convey. The end result is the same. Workers died while building the Manila Film Center. They were buried within the very structure they had built. According to rumors, the Manila Film Center is not just a shrine of a cinema, but a cemetery for the dead. In 2016, Rogue Magazine interviewed 3 people who claimed to be eyewitnesses and claimed to have witnessed the accident in 1981. 1. Nena Benigno, the former relations officer of the Experimental Cinema of the Philippines and Manila International Film Festival and daughter of Teddy Benigno, who was the former press secretary and columnist, said that when she arrived at the scene, workers buried in the cement were being dug out. According to Benigno, from a distance, she saw people being carried out on stretchers that seemed to have hardened due to the cement. When she arrived in the building, they were still digging people out. The reason being that the cement has not yet completely hardened. There was a man who they were trying to prevent from being shocked because half of his body was already buried. He was alive but half buried, and to keep him awake, alert, and not go into coma or shock, they continued to sing Christmas carols. According to Benigno, his understanding is that the 4th floor of the building was covered with a cement screed, and was supposed to be done was to apply layers of it until it dried. Then they applied another layer. Because they were in a hurry, they poured too much cement and it fell on the night shift workers. The cement issue may have actually occurred, but it has not been confirmed in any definite way. This is just the possibility, nothing definite and no confirmation. It could be just a rumor, which could be true or not, or it could be a mixture of both. The film center was completed, and the Manila International Film Festival was held as scheduled. There may have been literal cement dust in the air, according to the New York Times in February 1982, but the star-studded event continued as planned. Imelda Marcos looked like a queen in her white gown with multi-carat teardrop diamond earrings, 3 diamond-studded bracelets, and a 2-foot diamond necklace. She and her husband, the president and dictator, presided over a medieval pageant complete with a procession of indigenous dancers, beauty queens, and religious floats bearing figures of the baby Jesus. There were fireworks and dinner for 2,000 guests. This occurred while the builders of the Cinema Palace, where the celebration took place, were lying in their graves. According to rumors, when Benigno asked the marketing head of the Manila International Film Festival, Milia Llorin, what happened to the half-buried man, Llorin said that they just cut out everything that was exposed, removed it, and rebuilt it. That is why the seats are so steep, This is a rush job, so they need to finish it within a year. Again, this is just a possibility, no confirmation. Dr. Froilan Hong, the architect of the said building, said the stories are untrue. Since then, the country's economy has collapsed due to the excessive spending of Imelda Marcos and Philippine President Ferdinand Marcos. The Manila Film Center is not only the site of a tragedy, but also the place of restless souls. Poltergeist noises, voices, and activity are among the most commonly reported. So too are the reported full apparitions, images of blood dripping down the walls, visible arms or hands reaching desperately from under the door frames appear. Most security guards don't last more than a week. Some stories specifically describe visitors hearing screams and cries for help from the walls of the building, cries that are assumed to be the spirits of souls trapped in the concrete and literally built into the rest of the building. Some say that the voices heard are not cries for help, but rather revenge against the former First Lady, whose futile project resulted in their untimely deaths. It is repeatedly said that the Manila Film Center is one of the list of the most haunted places. This is a well-known urban legend. This is engraved in the memory of the families left behind by those who died during the construction of the building. Those destroyed by the Marcos regime will never be forgotten. The stories give these souls a literal life after death and wish that the past would never happen again. And this is the scary story of the Manila Film Center. I hope you like it. See you next time.